My name is Elliott Forman, and this is the Businesses War podcast, live from Rizzutos Prime. Okay, and today I have special guests with me, Jack Rizzuto and Sissy Rizzuto. These are the proprietors of a generational business that was, can I say passed down?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So listen, let me tell you, the statistics are terrible when it comes to how many people can pass a business down from one generation to the next. It's not good. Let me also say this. Back in the day, if your last name was Carpenter, guess what you did? If your last name was Smith, guess what you did? Well, today, the Rizzuto family is a household name in restaurateurship and proprietorship here in New Orleans, and thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen, this is a wonderful establishment. How long have you been here?
We've been here now since February, right before the Super Bowl. We opened here.
I think that was probably good timing, would you say?
Yeah, the Super Bowl has a lot of private events, so we came in on the back end of that. But the exposure was great. This hotel was a flagship for the NFL, so
Yes.
we got exposed to a lot of people that were coming in here for meetings with the NFL and things of that nature, which I think gave us a lot of good exposure at that time.
Now, explain the word prime to me. Because if I open a steakhouse, could I be a prime restaurant? How hard is it to get that tag and actually put it on there?
Well, one thing we pride ourselves on is when in our store that we have in Lakeview, that we've been there roughly 10 years, every steak on the menu is prime.
Okay.
With no disrespect to any of my competitors, every steak we have is prime. I don't know the answer to them, and some of them do, some of them don't. But I can tell you what we do. And somebody said, "Well, your filet costs a little more than the guy down the street." Probably it's because not everybody serves a prime filet. We serve it across the board on every stitch of meat. We even serve a hamburger that we do on our brunch and our regular lunch menu that is our prime spinalis steak, which is our signature steak. And in my opinion, put us on the map. We have a lot of good Italian influence in our business, but that steak is what took us in Lakeview.
The spinalis.
We have people come from all over to get it. No restaurant in New Orleans has that steak on a consistent basis. We get our meat out of Chicago, so that meat is. I like to say, here's the other thing which you have is a lot of people who buy meat from a distributor. They will get, say, you want prime fillets, so you will get prime fillets, but it's not a guarantee that it's coming from the same farm each and every time. With us, it comes from the same farm. The cattle are raised the same, so therefore you're getting consistency in the meat. That's why when you eat a spinalis with us today and you eat one with us next week or next month or next year, it's going to taste the same because it's coming from the same farm each and every time.
Okay, so prime is the elevated version of just regular old steak.
That's correct.
So it's not coming from around the corner at the slaughterhouse.
That's correct. It's prime meat. You have a choice. You have choice meat, which would be your next step under that. We're serving prime only.
Okay, all right. Okay, serving prime.
And that goes that word with seafood is the same. Every bit of seafood we're getting is prime, good, top of the line seafood, that we serve in the restaurant. From our whole fish that are coming out of the Gulf to our fish fillets, to our Gulf shrimp, all across the board. Oysters,
Okay.
we have fresh shucked oysters, raw oysters all the time here. We have charbroil oysters.
Now, where do you get your oysters from?
Those are the same thing, local oysters.
So you source most of your meat and your seafood locally?
Well, our meat comes out of Chicago.
Okay.
So then when it comes to our oysters, all local, and we do our third oyster dish we do is oysters Rizzuto, which is an Italian version, sort of breadcrumbs, lemon juice, olive oil, baked in the oven, which are awesome oysters. Yes. We do serve charbroil oysters here in this restaurant, which is people come to New Orleans, usually want to eat charbroil oysters or raw oysters, and we give them exposure to a little bit, adding a little Italian flair.
Okay.
With the Rizzuto oyster.
Okay, now explain to me the Italian influence in your cuisine. Give me the backdrop of
Well,
it.
for instance, on our menu, we serve about 4 or 5 different pastas in this restaurant.
Okay.
In my other restaurant, we serve probably 10 or 12.
Okay.
Because that restaurant is an Italian restaurant and a chop house. So here our emphasis is steaks and fresh seafood. People come to New Orleans, that's what they want, fresh seafood. They want our seafood. They want, good quality meat when they come here. So whereas Lakeview has more influence on the Italian dishes like chicken parmesan, veal parmesan, pasta. Here we do some great pasta.
So Rizzuto Prime is here.
Right.
And Lakeview is
A chop house.
Chop House.
So in Lakeview, we have, for instance, like 6 steaks on a menu. Here we have 10. When it comes to seafood options, there is 4 or 5 over there, and there's probably 8 to 10
Okay.
here.
Now let me ask a dumb question because this
Yeah.
is important to me. Are you flipping these on a skillet, or you have a special machine for it to cook them?
It depends what steak. Like, for instance, right now we do whole fish. We have snapper and bronzino right now on the menu, and it can be done fried or it can be done grilled. Okay, on the whole fish. Then we have a fillet of fish, which right now is sheephead, which is an awesome fish.
Wow.
And we can do that at lunchtime. We do an almondine, we do a meuniere, and at nighttime it's served with a fish of the day, an option of sauces that we have on our menu, from Romanesco all the way down to a garlic and type of basil type sauce that goes on it. So those are the options here. Whereas in Lakeview, we have a fish of the day, and it's with a sauce that the chef chooses for that day.
Ah, okay. All
That's
right.
that's kind of the difference.
Now, are you still cooking?
No, but, you know, let me say this: in our restaurant in Lakeview, you know, my executive chef is Jason Corona, who oversees both kitchens. A phenomenal chef. Doesn't like a lot of press. Doesn't like to be in front of the camera. That's not his forte. But the recipes from the Italian side are my grandmother's recipe, and our chef de cuisine, Frank Tiffany, who is my cousin, he runs the Lakeview kitchen on a consistent basis. We have more Italian dishes there, so his mother and my grandmother were cousins, so their recipes coincide. So my cousin Frank oversees both kitchens to make sure that the red gravy is the same red gravy, the same meatballs, and everything is consistent across the board. Like, he's not in this kitchen every day, but he was here 2 days ago, went in the kitchen testing the meatballs, testing the red sauce, testing anything that's Italian that he know, not that Chef Jason doesn't know, but he makes sure it's what his mother and what my grandmother would have cooked in their respective kitchens.
Okay, okay. Now let me ask you a question. How hard is it to implement a system that can make you look the same at 2 different locations, recipe-wise, operationally? Because let me tell you, that's the hardest part about any restaurant is the scale. So I mean, like, I know chicks that can cook their asses off 1 plate at a time, but they can't make 10 plates at a time.
I think here's the difference. Italian restaurants are a little different, and I've seen a lot of people that own multiple restaurants in this city and other cities have a difficulty executing an Italian concept because it's not the same type of situation. Okay, so with us, we have a family member. My wife and I spend probably 80 to 90 hours a week in this restaurant.
Yeah.
And we're always tasting things. Believe me, I get tired of eating here because it's the same stuff I'm eating. But we tasting those items. Like last night, I went in the kitchen and I had a meatball. I wasn't hungry. That's why I look like this. But I wasn't hungry, but I tasted a meatball to make sure that it tasted what my grandmother and my mother would have cooked in our kitchens. And you know, and that's what you have to have. It ain't like it's like a mass production.
Right.
We do have recipes, and we stay behind the people to make sure that they're consistent.
Okay. All right.
Across the board.
So you have an element of scale. You have the consistency. The last name change means that you absolutely have bought in. This is your proprietorship. This is what your career is. Let me tell you something. I salute you because, again, I see so many athletes who will start a restaurant, put their name on it, hire an executive chef, and in 9 months to a year, on to the next thing. This is something that you've made work year over year, generation after generation. And let me ask you a question. What is the labor force like today in 2025 compared to when you first started?
I was getting ready to answer that, say that just a second ago. You know, in Lakeview, we're in a neighborhood, so we have a lot of consistency with employees. Here, it's different. The workforce right now, since COVID, is not what it was before.
No.
First of all, they're higher wages, which makes it more difficult for a business to operate. Like
Restaurants, especially, because the margins are already
correct.
thin, correct?
And,
Food margins.
and
et
you have
cetera.
so many moving parts. You have a bar, you have a kitchen, you have wait staff, you have essays, you have there's multiple moving parts that you have. So it makes it different. So you need a team of people to make it work. The waiters in the kitchen. So we every day we fight that battle of making sure that the kitchen coincides with the wait staff.
They have to totally communicate.
Communicate. If you don't have communication there, you're going to have problems across the board. And
Is communication? You just mean like we don't have this anymore, so don't sell it at the table?
Well, not just that, but like our waiters, when they put an order in, I tell them, don't expect just to put your order in and the kitchen's going to have it ready. Communicate. I put an order in 5 minutes ago. Where is it? Where do we stand?
There's so many
So
things that can
that's-
happen. You know, like you forget to put a sauce, like the fish. Somebody orders a fried fish and they want Romanesco and they forget to put it in, or a
Now, do you
steak.
make your Romanesco from scratch?
Oh yeah, everything.
Everything is made from scratch.
All of our pasta is made in house. All of our desserts are made in house. You know, in Lakeview, we make our own bread that we serve in the restaurant in Lakeview. So everything is made, and that's another thing. A lot of times when people have multiple restaurants in a chain, and I'm not beating on anybody that does that because that's great. We don't do that. We are in these kitchens making sure. That's why I don't have 15 restaurants. I got 2 because I can't cut myself up more than 2 places. And my brother and I are partners in this business, and we, you know, he's in one location, I'm in the other location. It's kind of what we do to make sure that the consistency stays. Not that we don't want to expand, we do want to expand, but we want to be able to expand and give people the same service they're accustomed to. Do we make mistakes? Absolutely, we make mistakes. And a lot of that is because a lot of issues we have with service is staffing issues.
I bet it is. Listen, I know for a fact that human resources is probably one of the most complicated spaces inside of business ownership. And I think that you guys are doing a great job of it. I salute you for it because I'm just not able to trust people like that.
So the difference is having only 2 locations. If somebody doesn't show up to wait tables, bartender, kitchen, we jump in and do it.
The general public does not understand the customer that comes into a restaurant. They're expecting probably more than what most restaurants can give.
Okay.
And when it comes to service, especially since COVID.
Listen, don't forget it. Starbucks taught us to order a drink online, walk into the store, pick it up, don't even speak to anybody. And so we have mechanically believe that everything is Amazon when it comes to even food service. And there is the issue because to err is human. You know, I mean, humans are going to make mistakes. Things are going to take a little bit longer. I mean, you know, but you've done an amazing job. I don't want you to discredit that because I know how hard it is to make a restaurant work. I've been around thousands of restaurants that have come in business and the same 1,000 have gone right back out of business because it takes somebody that is truly committed to it. You put your last name on it.
That's correct.
Jack, that's everything to me.
That's
when you
correct.
put your last name on it, you're going to stand on that.
That's the first time we had a restaurant that we had prior to the 2 that we have now, and we had a different name. And I wanted to use the name. My brother said, "We got to be careful that we want to use your name because if you make a mistake, it was our first dabble into that type of business.
Yeah.
He said we got to make sure that we want to do that
know.
before we do that because you're putting your name on something. That's another reason why we sit here all the time is because our name's on the building. If I just put Joe's on the front of the building, Joe could be anybody.
Joe could be anybody.
You know?
And Joe is anybody, to be
I
honest.
mean, honestly, we're here. One of us is here
Wow.
all day and all night.
Wow. So you guys are committed. Do you get to take a vacation?
Every day.
Yes.
When I'm not here, I'm looking at my phone and I'm looking at cameras. I'm looking at
Toast
numbers.
numbers.
I'm looking at it. So it's like last night here in the hotel, for the weekend, the busy weekend with Essence this weekend, I said I'm gonna stay here in the hotel and I'm staying here for the next 2 more days. And I left down here and I called my manager. I said, look, I just noticed something. She goes, I thought you were going to bed. I said, I was, but I looked at my phone and I seen something on it. And I knew I needed to call you about it to correct it.
So we do take vacation, but we are constantly looking, checking, calling, answering phone calls.
Okay.
But we're
Listen.
still hands-on when we're not here.
And I salute you for that. Tell me about a time in which you had a supplier shift happen and it was a dangerous time, meaning, oh, you can't get your steaks starting tomorrow, or you can't get your salad lettuce starting tomorrow. How do you deal with stuff like that?
Well, the good part about it is in this restaurant, we print our menus pretty much daily. So if we have a fish that we can't get, we can change it out and swap out the fish. We had an instance the other day where we have a ribeye cut for us, a bone-in, cowboy ribeye, and the shipment didn't make it here, and we had to take it off the menu and substitute because we will bring in different steaks as special. Like we're getting ready to start here in this location. We've had a lot of people come to us that know our Italian background, and we have probably 5 to 6, 7 Italian dishes on the menu, but are asking for more. So we do in Lakeview where we take a whole veal chop and we split it down the middle and we pound it out and we serve it 2 ways: Milanese style, which is breaded, pan fried, and served with a arugula tomato salad over the
Getting
top.
hungry already.
And then a Parmesan style, same thing, pounded out, pan fried, cheese, Italian red gravy on the top, and then baked off in the oven. So we're going to start doing that in this location to add additional.
Because they're asking for it.
Yeah, in fact, my general manager here in the hotel has only been here a year and a half. And he said, when we were negotiating our lease here, he goes, you know, it's kind of funny. I came to New Orleans, my wife's Italian, and I was going to your restaurant. He said, no, I didn't know you were the owner till they brought you here and said you were interested in leasing the place. He said, when I came in, he said, my wife's Italian. She loves your red sauce and she's very particular. She don't eat anybody's red sauce. So tonight, our general manager's coming in tonight, and I'm bringing my cousin's coming here from Lakeview for the Lakeview store to make chicken parmesan for the general manager and his family because his family's in town for the weekend.
Now do me a favor and tell me, because I don't know anything. How do you make spaghetti? Because I'm coming out the can with the red can, okay, and I'm using the same noodles. I mean, like, is it the same in a restaurant?
Our sauce is made, you know, we have a family recipe with our sauce. Now, when it comes to the pasta, everything is made in a machine that we have, and we put our recipe of the flour.
You make your own noodles?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have a machine in the back that makes our raviolis for us.
Awesome.
All of our pastas, unless it's something that has to be hand cut. We try to stay away from something hand cut because, again, the labor force.
Let me tell you something. I know a restaurant that goes to Sam's Club every morning and buys everything that they're going to go put in the oven and warm up and serve it as food. I'm not lying to you. And I'm like, they don't even use Tony Satcherin. So when I hear you tell me that you are making your own pasta and that your sauces are coming from scratch, I'm saying you guys are doing it the right way.
So like our crab cakes, we get fresh lump jumbo crab meat in, but chef still picks through the lump crab meat to try to get whatever shells are out. So our crab cakes, those are also made every single day.
Okay.
And people will come in later and say, oh, you're out of crab cakes. We only make so many a day. And when they're out, we're out. We don't reuse anything for the next day. So that's how we operate also to have
Crab cake
freshness.
is one of our top entrees.
I'll bet.
On this menu. It's 96% all crab meat. Very little filler. Only filler is what we have to do to put it, to hold it, to keep it together.
The glue.
So we say 96%, and when we get these influencers in here, they correct us and they say, oh, it's not 96%. At first, I was like, no, it is. And they were like, no, it's 98%.
Okay.
So that's,
Okay, now, question for you. I heard you say the word lease. How hard has real estate been on your business in the entire from beginning?
When it comes to lease and stuff, every landlord, and we're landlords, we understand it. Every landlord thinks that their location's, worth prime figures. Restaurants, operating a restaurant because of the moving parts, as we talked about before, you can't pay. Like we looked at some other locations, expansion. Problem is the landlord wants X amount of dollars. You have to be able to make the numbers work.
Yes.
In restaurants, you're limited what you can do. Whereas you have a bar, there's higher profitability on drinks at a bar. So therefore, a guy operating a bar in a nightclub, he may be able to pay more rent than a restaurant because there's less moving parts, there's less labor intense. So those kind of things,
Well, let me just tell you that, business is war. Real estate is what it is. It's tough out here. I salute you for being able to make the generational baton pass and that you're doing the right thing. You put your name on it. You stand by it. This is now my new home for all my guests. We're going to have our Christmas party here. But listen, it's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
Sissy and Jack Rizzuto, thank you very much for stopping by, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.